Welcome back to the Quarterly Call. All content is for informational purposes and is not investment advice. Please consult with an investment professional.
Absolutely.
So let's talk self-driving cars.
Okay.
Mobileye.
Yeah.
They just had their Q4 2024 earnings call,
Big one.
and there's a lot to unpack there.
For sure.
Even with car sales globally slowing down a bit, Mobileye is still projecting some growth.
Yeah. It's pretty remarkable, isn't it?
It is, and it's not just like the basic driver assistance features.
Mhm.
They're going for the really advanced stuff.
Right. And we can see that on the road sooner than we think.
Totally.
Yeah.
So their Q4 results were pretty much right in line with expectations.
Yeah.
Even saw a boost from Chinese OEMs who are ordering more than expected. And their operating cash flow for 2024 hit $400 million, flat, year over year.
Which is not bad, considering.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, especially given the dips in revenue and earnings.
Yeah.
They seem to be managing things pretty well.
I think so. It shows some financial discipline, which is good to see in a market like this.
Absolutely. So looking ahead to 2025, things get even more interesting. Their revenue projections are at $1.075 billion.
6% growth year over year.
And adjusted operating income about $217 million.
Over 10% growth.
Wow, pretty impressive way. What are your thoughts on those numbers?
Well, what really stands out to me is that these growth projections are tied to some very specific technological advances.
Like what?
Well, they're predicting EyeQ volumes between 32 and 34 million units for 2025.
EyeQ.
Yeah. Their system on a chip. The brain of their autonomous driving system.
Right, processing all the sensor data and making those split-second decisions.
Exactly. And then there's SuperVision.
Ah, yes. Even more advanced.
They are expecting volumes in the low 20,000 unit range for 2025.
Okay.
Mainly for the Polestar 4.
And they're assuming no U.S. expansion for SuperVision just yet.
Right. Which is interesting. It seems like a pretty measured and strategic rollout, focusing on specific markets and partners.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Now their overall volume outlook for 2025, it's a bit lower than I anticipated.
Yeah, it is. They are predicting about 33 million units, which is down from the annualized run rate of 35.6 million we saw in the second half of 2024.
Yeah. What's going on there?
Well, they're factoring in a lot of things.
Yeah.
Potential pull forward of volume in Q4 2024. Possible production declines by their core OEM customers. Anticipated share gains and ADA adoption growth. Seasonality, and even a potential decline from Chinese OEMs.
So they're being cautious.
I think realistic is a better word.
Yeah, you're right. They're accounting for the many variables at play.
Exactly. And their gross margin is expected to be about 1.5 points higher than 2024, mainly because of a lower percentage of SuperVision-related revenue.
Okay, that makes sense. It's still early days for SuperVision.
Yeah. They also mentioned operating expenses averaging around $250 million per quarter for 2025.
Got it. Now let's talk about the competition.
Yeah.
Because it seems like everyone's trying to get a piece of this self-driving pie.
They are. But Mobileye doesn't seem too worried about in-house development.
Really? At least not in the Western world.
Yeah. Which is interesting considering how many companies are investing heavily in their own self-driving tech.
Right. Like GM, for instance.
Exactly.
But you have to admit, Mobileye has been doing this for a long time.
That's true. And they have that massive data set of real-world driving data, which is so crucial for training these systems.
No doubt. Although they did mention the ZE Car 009 situation in China.
Yeah, where Z-Car might be opting for an in-house system,
Right.
but Mobileye seems to view that as a unique case.
I wonder if that could set a precedent, though, for other Chinese manufacturers.
Could. Then there's NVIDIA.
Oh, yeah. And their Cosmos platform.
Right. Could their tools change the in-house development game?
Well, NVIDIA is a powerhouse when it comes to AI and simulation.
For sure. But Mobileye brought up a good point about the difference between humanoid robotics, where simulation is king, and autonomous driving, where real-world data is essential.
Yeah, simulation is great for testing, but it can't fully replicate the unpredictable nature of the real world.
Especially when we're talking about something as complex as driving. So it's simulation versus real-world data.
Two very different approaches.
And that's why Mobileye is laser-focused on that real-world data set. But of course, they're also facing competition from companies like Waymo.
Right, who are targeting production a little later in the decade.
Yeah, more like 2027, 2028.
So Mobileye is looking like the go-to option for those who want to launch those advanced systems sooner.
Yeah, it's all about speed to market for some.
Yeah.
But what about the technology itself? What are they doing that's really pushing the boundaries?
Well, their chauffeur system caught my attention.
Yeah, it's their vision for the future of autonomous driving. Eyes-off driving technology.
And what's interesting is that intense focus on precision and reliability.
They keep mentioning those high mean time, between failures, thousands of hours, versus the current 10.
Yeah, it's remarkable.
They're aiming for a level of reliability that would completely transform the driving experience.
For sure.
And they even mentioned Tesla's FSD-V13,
Yeah.
saying that while impressive, it still falls short of their goals. They seem pretty confident that their EyeQ 6 platform will be a big step up.
It's a bold claim.
Yeah, no doubt.
But it speaks to their ambition.
Totally.
So what's standing out to you? Anything really piqued your interest?
Well, besides their claims about Tesla, I'm really intrigued by their focus on efficiency.
Yeah.
It seems to be everywhere in their approach, from their silicon design and AI algorithms to their choice of partners.
You're right. It's a core value for them.
And it makes me wonder if that could be one of their key advantages going forward.
It makes sense.
It's not just about having the best technology, but making it work in a way that's efficient and cost-effective.
Absolutely. Efficiency could be what lets them scale their technology and make it
Sure.
available to a wider market.
We'll have to see how it all plays out. I'm ready to dive into their existing programs and see how they're progressing. What about you?
I'm with you. Let's do it.
Okay, so let's talk about some of those existing programs that Mobileye is working on. SuperVision, for one.
Yes, their advanced driver assistance system.
Right.
It seems like they're pretty happy with how the first generation has matured, and now they're already focused on the next version built on that EyeQ 6 platform.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, if EyeQ 6 is as powerful as they claim, why not enhance their flagship product with it, right?
Right.
So I'm curious what kind of improvements they're aiming for with this next-gen SuperVision.
Yeah, it'll be exciting to see.
And then there's Mobileye Drive,
Ah, yes. They're a venture into the robo-taxi market.
which is really heating up right now.
Definitely it is.
They're working with Volkswagen on their ID, Buzz, and they've got paid rides going on in Oslo,
I've heard about that.
and they're partnering with companies like Holon and Ben Sleigh.
So many partnerships.
They're really taking a multi-pronged approach, it seems.
Yeah, collaborating with both established players and innovative startups.
Smart move.
It is. The robotaxi landscape is super competitive.
Oh, yeah,
Having a diverse network of partners could be a real advantage for them.
I agree. And their timeline for launching commercial robotaxi services is ambitious,
It is late 2026 or 2027.
but realistic,
Yeah, with safety drivers initially, of course.
of course.
That timeframe seems to align with what a lot of the industry analysts are predicting.
It does.
It seems like everything is falling into place for them.
Yeah. One thing that's really compelling to me about Mobileye's approach is their focus on safety.
Yeah,
They're not just rushing to get their technology out there.
they're not.
It's a very cautious and measured approach.
It is, and I appreciate that.
It's not about being first to market.
No,
It's about doing it right.
for sure.
And with autonomous driving, safety has to be the top priority.
Absolutely. I don't know about you, but this whole conversation is making me pretty optimistic about the future of transportation.
Me too. It's exciting to see a company like Mobileye really pushing the boundaries, but also not losing sight of safety and responsibility.
Right. Okay, so before we wrap up,
Yeah.
what are your overall thoughts, key takeaways from all this?
You know, it really strikes me. Mobileye's quiet confidence.
Yeah.
They're not flashy, but they're incredibly focused and strategic in their approach.
You're right. They're not just riding the wave of autonomous driving.
They are shaping it.
Yeah.
Their emphasis on real-world data,
Right.
their commitment to efficiency,
Their strategic partnerships.
it all points to a company that's in it for the long haul.
Definitely. And it seems like they have a very clear vision for the future of transportation.
They do.
A future where autonomous driving is just part of our everyday lives.
Yeah.
A future where things like safety, efficiency, and accessibility are paramount.
I love that vision.
It's inspiring to see a company with such a bold vision.
Yeah.
But it's not just about the technology. It's about us.
Right.
How we as a society choose to embrace this and integrate it into our lives.
That's where the real conversation starts.
It really does.
Yeah, we need to be having this conversation now,
We do.
not after these technologies are
So
everywhere. We have to think about the ethical implications,
Right.
the societal impacts,
The potential benefits.
and risks.
Right. And we need to be asking tough questions
Yeah.
about how we want this future to look.
What kind of future do we want?
Do we want cars primarily for personal use? Or do we envision a future where shared mobility solutions like robo-taxis become the norm?
Big questions.
They are. And it's encouraging to see companies like Mobileye actively engaging in these conversations.
I agree. They're not just focused on building the technology, but also thinking about its role in a bigger picture.
Absolutely. It's not just about replacing humans with machines.
Right.
It's about creating a system that's safer, more efficient, and more accessible for everyone.
That's a future worth striving for.
It is.
We've covered a lot here today, from Mobileye's performance to their plans for the future. What's the one thing that you're going to be thinking about after all of this?
Their commitment to safety, for sure.
Yeah,
And their vision for a future where autonomous driving is just seamlessly integrated into our lives. It's a vision that's both inspiring and pragmatic.
it is.
What about you?
You know, I'm really struck by their quiet confidence and their ability to actually execute on their vision.
It's impressive.
They're not just talking about the future,
Right.
they are building it.
They are.
And that's exciting to see.
It is. Anything else you want to add? Any other questions or observations?
I think we've covered pretty much everything, but one thing's for sure.
Yeah.
Mobile is definitely a company to keep an eye on in the coming years.
Yeah, their innovations could really change how we think about transportation.
They could. So I want to leave our listeners with this thought.
Oh, okay.
We've talked about their predictions, their technology, their place in the market.
Right, but the question is, what does this all mean
Exactly.
for the average person?
Yeah. How do you see autonomous driving impacting your life?
In the years to come.
Yeah. Will you be one of the early adopters,
Hmm.
looking for a more convenient or maybe a safer way to get around? Or will you be a little hesitant? Yeah.
Maybe even a bit skeptical.
Yeah. Or maybe you're excited by the possibilities.
Right.
Things like new business models or less traffic or better accessibility for those who can't drive themselves.
Lots of possibilities.
There are. And it's clear that this race to truly autonomous vehicles,
It's heating up.
it is. And it has the potential to really change our world.
Big time. So stay curious, stay informed,
Stay informed.
and maybe start picturing what your life could look like in a world where
Yeah.
cars drive themselves.
Because the future is closer than we think.
it is.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Quarterly Call. For more episodes, please remember to rate and follow our show. Until next time, stay curious and stay informed.